The Raptors get it done against the Atlanta Hawks, 135-128. Welcome to Raptors Tonight, live from Real Sports. I'm Randy Irvin, joined by Sherman Hamilton, Paul Jones, and Alvin Williams. Good game. Needed it.
You're stumbling out the gate like the Hawks in the second half.
Yeah. Everyone rolling tonight offensively. Jones, let's start with you. What performances stood out to you?
The defense at the start of the second half. Like, I think about the last few games, Charlotte scored well and shot like 56, 57%, whatever they shot. They were above 50. Raptors put up a $130 against New York. Mm-hmm. The Knicks shoot 60%, and you lose that game. Tonight, it's 66-64 at halftime, and you're thinking, here we go again. Both teams above 50%. Windshield wiper game, right? And all of a sudden, at the start of the second half, Scottie comes out guarding Trae Young, and the Raptors are not one of these teams that have this automatic propensity for switching. And they hold Atlanta down. Like in the second half, they held them to 22 of 51. So I'm not saying there was lockdown defense, but it was good enough in the second half because they kept scoring to come away with the win. That's what stood out most for me, that they were able to slow them down a little bit in the second half.
Yeah, Alvin, Pascal Siakam tied Chris Bosh for the most 30-point games in Raptor history. When you watched his play tonight, what were the keys? Why was he so efficient?
I mean, I just love his approach from the beginning. He was attacking the paint, getting close, opportunities close to the basket. And then he expanded out. A lot of times when you are struggling from range, you want to get to the free throw line, you want to get layups, you want to get that rhythm. So I just thought he'd let the game come to him, and then he started making plays for others. I think he finished with 7 assists. And I just like to see when he's more engaged from that standpoint, being aggressive, and then making sure his teammates are involved. Because again, if you start passing the ball and you're finding others, your one-on-one opportunities will become more frequent, and then you'll be able to take advantage of those situations. But I just thought he let the game come to him, but he also was aggressive when the time was right.
Sure, when you watch, obviously the three was going for him tonight. When you watch his three-point shot, does anything stand out in his form when he's making versus when he was struggling?
No, they just went in. And listen, guys just don't forget how to shoot. They go through rough stretches, and unfortunately for Pascal, it coincided with the Raptors not playing well. But he's not changing anything. He's taking the shots. I like the fact that he's still shooting and still looking to shoot that shot, because I think that's where the bigger problem is, when you stop looking at the rim because you're not confident. But Pascal's three-point shot is predicated on his downhill action, on his attack, on his ability to keep defenders on their heels. And now when they're on their heels, he can knock down enough threes to continue to force them and entice them to get closer. His dribble drive game opens up, and he's spacing the floor. So when an OG Anunoby's attracting somebody, when Dennis Schroeder's attracting somebody, when Scottie's attracting somebody, he's getting set, shot prep, ready to shoot the ball, and he's not hesitating. That, to me, is a good sign, whether it goes in or not.
Well, you guys are shooters, and I want to know, it makes a difference when you...
When it goes in?
When it goes in.
Your confidence?
No, it goes in early, right?
Yeah.
Like that matters whether you make your first one out of 3 versus you make your first one out of 1. Do you not feel that?
For me, yeah, but if it's Steph Curry, it doesn't make a difference,
matter.
right?
You can miss 8.
If that's your role and things like that. But it was a time back in the day, first of all, you weren't going to shoot any long shots when the game first started.
Right.
Then if you missed the few, don't shoot anymore. That's it for the night, right?
And if you didn't do that, the coach made sure you
made sure. Make sure. I remember
Yeah.
Butch Carter telling me one time, I don't need you to take them, I need you to make them. And I was saying, you know what, I won't shoot it at all. So that's the thing. But you got different personalities and different approaches. But in today's game, it's predicated on outside shooting and three-point shooting. So you see a lot of people, no matter what, they just want the attempts, and then they'll let the effect.
Onyeka Okongwu comes into the game shooting 20% from 3.
Guy was making everything.
The guy was making, that's right? It's the way the league has gone. Randy, you talked about performances. I thought Malachi Flynn was solid again tonight, right? 8 assists, leading the team. He's just, one of the things that was kind of a mandate for Darko was development, right? And we're looking at the bench, and we're looking at a guy like Malachi getting an opportunity And I think he's really settled nicely into that backup role. He's got the support of Dennis Schroeder. I think he's playing well.
Yeah. This is 3 games in a row where he's really been super solid.
Assist to turnover has been very good. You can get stuff out of him in that second unit, which allows you to, he can play that game, lead the second unit, and your other guys can rest, right? You're not going to have that slippage. So I thought he's another guy that I'd like to look at his role and say, hey, he's kind of got it going.
We talked about early on, right? Like Malachi, his situation, and I'm very familiar with it. Not really getting the opportunities or not playing as well as you would like to play under a certain coach, and then a new coach comes in there, and then you play the backup role, and then he starts to give you more and more confidence. He lets you play through some of your mistakes. You're playing a better role, and I see that with Malachi. I got a call from my friend Catino Mobley this summer when Malachi was out in L.A., and he was like, yo, I really like this kid. This kid, Malachi, he can play.
He's
But
got
sometimes
tools,
you don't
man.
get the opportunity to play. And that, for me, that was me. Didn't really play well under Butch Carter, but then when Lenny Wilkins came, I played behind Mark Jackson. I got to see the game in a different lens. And then I got opportunities to play with Mark Jackson, like he's playing with Dennis, and he's getting opportunities to be the backup. And then, who knows what happens. You may start later on, but I think a new coach and a new scenery is helping him a lot.
I think the fact that they're on the floor together at times
It helps a lot.
is helpful too, right? And Al, you talk about it. Your confidence starts to grow.
Yeah.
That guy says, hey, I believe in you. You start to believe in you.
Yeah.
You start to make plays, and that grows. It's infectious with the rest of the team too.
Well, there were moments that when Malachi's playing well, that Schroeder, when it's his time to go in, he has told the coach that, let him go a little bit. He's going well. I'll step back. And he wouldn't even put himself in the game at the moment that he usually does, which is a pretty big thing, Sherm, for a veteran guy to do with someone that's, this is the NBA. Everybody's competing for a job.
Yeah, you'll find out who's about winning and who's about themselves real quick.
Right.
And obviously, if that's happening, there's no question Dennis is about winning and understanding when a team's in flow and in rhythm, it might be your time to go back in, but don't disrupt it. Let those guys run. Let them continue to play. There'll be a time when it'll change and you'll get in the game, but I can respect that as a veteran player in the league that looks out there and says, yo, that guy's going. Let him keep going.
Yeah.
I'll get in the game when I'm supposed to get in.
Al, just going back to that with Lenny Wilkinson, did he say something to you, or how did he sort of instill that confidence in you, just by giving you freedom? Is that the most important thing?
Conversation. If you did make a mistake, it lets you know what that mistake was and how to correct it, what to do next. And it was just his
And
temperament.
didn't give you the quick hook.
And not being pulled out.
Not pulled out,
Yeah.
right? You're not being pulled out. I played ball all my life, but my confidence was gone in certain times of that season prior to Lenny Wilkins came. Not saying it's anybody's fault. That happens. But when you have a coach that's going to communicate with you, you have teammates. We always had great teammates. And then I had Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson would take me under his wing. Before that, it was D. Brown and Muggsy Bogues and guys like that, right? I had Rod Strickland was here. I played with Kenny Anderson. So I had a lot of people giving me knowledge. But when Mark Jackson was there, and he was the same. Let him go. If we're going, let him go.
Yeah.
Let him go and let him.
We've all played. Is there anything worse than making a mistake? Is there, even at any level, is there anything worse than making a mistake and seeing a cat get up from the scorer's table, from the bench, and walk to the scorer's table, and you know he's coming in for you?
Yeah.
You're taking that next shot, for sure.
Well, I don't know about that.
That's why you didn't play.
Yeah, that's right. You are. It's like.
But so you even see that, right? And while you're playing, you're thinking about if I make a mistake, this is going to. So you never could play. Like, I really remember playing basketball not to make a mistake for a while. To act like I was standing on the court for a reason.
Recipe for failure.
That's it. That's it.
Isn't it funny, though? I think a lot of fans don't really know that players at that level can go through slumps mentally where they're struggling, where their confidence is shot. Even, this is a game, like you said, you played your whole life. You're at the pinnacle of your career. You're the best player in the world, like one of the best players in the world, 450 players. And you still can have confidence issues. That's a crazy thing, right?
Yeah, no, you're a human being.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you can sit there and you can reflect and you can think about how'd you get here and why you're here and boost yourself up. But at the end of the day, it's you and yourself.
Right.
And it gets to a point. I got to a point where I was confident, uncertain, lacked confidence, and then I just said, F it. And when I said the F it, You know what that means. It was more like whatever happens, happens. And then I got out of it.
Right.
Because whatever happened, I knew I just could control what I could control.
Right. Did someone tell you like that point of advice, like F it?
No.
No.
That was just where I got to. That's where I got to.
All right, that's great stuff, guys. Let's go with the fan of the night now. Let's bring in Suki Singh. Come on in, Suki. Come on in. Give it a little clap. All right, Joe. Yeah. What's up, man?
I saw him sitting over there waiting patiently.
Yeah, he's patiently. He's the guy waiting to sub in. You didn't make a mistake.
For you.
Yeah. You should sit in this chair. Suki, got a question or comment for the panel? First of all, do you know these guys?
Well, of course.
Jonesy,
That's what first I want to say. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be among you, a stream
What's going on, man?
of privileged
thank
people.
you.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Of course, shout out to Raptors all day, every day. So my question is, I just want to know, obviously Darko is his first year as a head coach. So what are the tenets of his philosophy? How do they relate to our Raptors team?
Jonesy, you want to start with that?
Well, I think one of the things that was evident at the end of last year, and Masai reiterated it numerous times, was the team played selfish. He felt that. And I'm sure that was one of the first things laid on Darko's plate. We don't want any selfish play here. So now Darko takes that to the team. And to me, it's manifested itself in the way the offense is being played. I mean, you think of guys like OG, Pascal, Chris Boucher, they've only known one way with Nick Nurse here. Even when Nick was the lead assistant for Dwayne Casey, he was in charge of the offense. The offense ran a certain way. Now you bring this other guy in, and everything changes. And the Raptors have gone from the low 20s in assists to top 5. So that shows me the unselfishness, as Sherman Alvin talked about. Play for each other, be a team. That's been accomplished. I look at the defense, and it's the same thing on the defensive end. You play for one another. We don't see, we were talking about this off air, there's the indiscriminate switching so that you have a 7-footer being guarded by, Malachi Flynn, a 6-foot. No, that Darko's worked the defense in a certain way so that we're going to help each other and we're going to play together on the defensive end. So to me, that idea of being a true team, the Raptors are top 5 in assists, and they're in the bottom third of the league in shooting. Imagine if they were making shots.
That's a great point. Yeah.
So to me, those are the things that kind of jump off the page with me with his philosophy.
Sherm, do you see something different in the way the ball's moving this year with Darko at the helm?
Well, I feel like this team is playing a bit differently. They're moving the ball. We had 39 assists tonight on 50 made field goals. I don't know if it gets better than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're shooting 57% from the floor. That's an ideal night when you talk about how he would like to play. The ball's moving, bodies are moving. You're scoring, 26 points or something like that in transition. Another element of this team how they want to play. So I think when they get shots to fall, we see a true essence of what Darko wants offensively. Because it's not going to be one-on-one scoring 130, 40 points. It's going to be move the ball, cut, change position, screen for each other, give up the good shot for the better shot. And to me, that's how they want to play.
Al, you want to add to that? Or?
I think that right there, and we talk a lot about offense, but defensively, they got to come out still with their approach. And I know Darko would love for them to come out with the intensity and the sense of urgency to start games defensively. And I think tonight was one of those nights. They really locked in. Atlanta got loosed a bit at the end of the first quarter, but they locked in from the outset and got themselves a comfortable margin. But, I think Atlanta still ended up with like 30-some points, 37 points in the first quarter.
Yeah.
But defensively, they really have to lock in. I know Darko, that's a philosophy that he's tying in on as well.
Suki, you want to spin and shoot for a prize? Why else are you here, right?
Why not?
Yeah, let's do it. All right.
Hopefully you get the tickets. Are the tickets back on the wheel?
Tickets are not.
Tickets not on the wheel.
Tickets
What's on the
are
wheel?
not up.
Jersey?
We got a signed jersey up there.
My man's got a jersey.
All right,
You
got a
can
signed
get Alvin Williams
Go
to
ahead.
sign it,
Go
man.
ahead.
Give him
No,
the
it's a
tickets.
signed
You don't
jersey.
want
We got a
no
gift card.
Alvin
You got to spin first.
Signature on the Siakam jersey.
Yeah. Give it a good spin.
It was $3 after that. So you went to the
We got a mug, we got a t-shirt, bag, socks, gift card, Yeti cup. Yeti cup is, 2 apps from Real Sports. That's pretty good. You got to shoot, though, to make it, or to get that. Here you go. Here's the line.
And none of these
first of all,
pull
are you
backs.
are you
Can I get a
nervous?
practice shot?
Yeah, you get sure get a practice shot in there. I don't know. You can make that small ball.
That hoop looks so big.
There it is. All right.
Light work.
Good job, man. Good job. Here's your gift card from Real Sports. Do you want to shout out anybody at home watching?
Yeah, shout out to all the fam, my friends. Shout out to the Raptors, of course, all day, every day.
All right.
Thanks so
man.
much.
Appreciate you. Thanks for coming on.
My man.
Pleasure, man.
My man.
You good?
Appreciate
You good to
you,
get
brother.
out? You want me to let you out?
Thank you,
Thank you, man.
Good seeing
You want me to let you out? You good? You can hop over that. He's agile. All right. Let's get back to the game.
How about the Raptors shooting the 3 ball tonight? 9
Shoot
for
like
12.
that, you're going to win a lot of games.
9 for 12 in the third quarter. I had to look and make sure I was adding, I had shoes and socks off to make sure I was doing it properly.
Yeah.
9 of 12 in the third quarter.
You know what's
That was huge.
interesting? Atlanta put enough points on the board to win the game.
Yeah?
They shot the ball well enough, 48%. You can win games shooting 48%. They assisted well. They did a lot of things that they could have won this game. But this is what the Raptors have fallen into. You look at the New York game, the Raptors shot 49%.
Yeah.
They scored 130. They moved the ball. They had enough to win the game. But when teams shoot 60% because you're not defending at a high enough level, it won't matter.
Yeah, it's funny. Like you're right, Sherm. Like they were up again in the New York game or had chances to make the move, and then the other team made the move. It's
kind of reverse of what happened
It was
in New
exact
York.
reverse of that. Yeah.
Are we, this is my question to all of you as I put on my Randy Urban hat. Did we underplay Scotty Barnes tonight? Like at one point I looked up, he had 18, 9, and like 5. I'm like,
Scotty, yeah, go Al.
What?
What you were going to say something?
Oh,
Oh,
like just thoughts. Just
Thoughts on
your
Scotty.
Thoughts on Scotty.
your turn.
he's great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy that he's going to stuff the stat sheet, but he's, again, I think people get caught up where he needs to have the ball in his hand and be a point. I think his value is that you just can't. He can affect the
So
game
many different
He's
ways.
a basketball player.
Yeah.
without doing all of those things. Now, if it's a time to put the ball in his hand, yeah. If it's a time for him to space the floor, yeah. If it's a time to be a screener, yeah, a connector or whatever, he can do all of those things without you actually calling a play for him. So I just continue to say, allow him to grow, learn, and develop, and let him just continue to be the player he is. And then in certain situations, walk him through it, teach him through it, and then when those big games come, then he'll be ready for it. But you know, he's just one of those guys. He's going to end, I think, 27-10 or like today, and it was just like, shucks. And another guy had 31,
Right.
33,
Yeah.
so 33.
He's a gamer.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. When the game's on the line, he's going to have impact, whether the ball's in his hands or not. He's going to find a way to have impact. And to me, that's a quality for a fairly young player that you really want to kind of hone in on and give him the opportunities. And they do. He gets the opportunities in late game situations to make plays. But I just like the fact that when the fight is the craziest, when the most is on the line, he's in the middle of it throwing punches. That's where he wants to be, though. He's not being forced to be there. And with his skill set, it's an amazing position to be in at such a young age.
Yeah, it's really amazing how many ways he can affect the game.
Oh, yeah.
Just like, you know, you can wake up in the third quarter and he's got 12, 10, and 8 already, you know. All right, let's do a little overtime. Last night, Draymond Green got into it again with Yusuf Nurkic. He pretended he was selling a call and punched him in the face. Repeat offender, has done nothing to kind of stop this behavior. He's now been suspended indefinitely. I just want to know what your thoughts are on this whole situation, Jonesy.
It's sad. I mean, you look at the way his team needs him.
Sorry, Alvin's laughing.
He was trying to say that was accidental.
That's crazy to
I mean,
me. I saw.
Hold on a second. That being said, even if he was kind of wheeling around or there have been so many cries of wolf
Yeah.
that he's a repeat offender, right? Like a kid sent down to the office every day.
Yeah.
Like there's something behind it.
Did you guys ever watch Dodgeball with Ben Stiller? He throws
I don't
the
like
ball-
where this is going
When
already.
he throws the ball out the person's face, he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't control my hands. That's what I felt like when I was watching this press conference. Like, there's no way that that's an accident, right? You know where your hands are and where the guy's face is, especially if he's defending you and fouling you.
Yeah, I don't know if he meant to do it or not, but like you said, like incident after incident is not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And it's just something, man, it's unfortunate. Because I got a chance to sit down and talk with Draymond. Met him a bunch of times outside of, off the court, and great dude, man.
Yeah.
Highly intelligent. Like he's one of those dudes that I enjoyed being around. I enjoyed interviewing. And then you start seeing things like this happen over and over. It's just like, it's unfortunate, and it makes you scratch your head. Like, what's really going on? Like, what's really going on with this dude? And I think also, man, he has got to a place where he's been doing these things to people, and nothing has been returned to him. He hasn't had his back to the wall. And I'm not saying he would cower. I'm not saying if he would second guess. But at some point, that big dude getting laid out, he's laid out. Another dude's getting choked. These are big dudes. Like, nobody's going to – something has to be done if you want to defend yourself.
You mean on the court?
Something has to be done. Like, and if you don't have any resistance, guess what? I see today's NBA, I can be who I want to be, right? There was a time if something like that happened.
Oh, no, there was payback.
Yeah.
There was payback.
If it was here at Real Sports, if it was in the locker room, parking lot.
It's going down.
Yeah, it's going down when I see you.
You agree with that, Sher?
What's that?
You agree with that?
Well, I agree with what he's saying. Back in the day, there was more immediate retribution that didn't have to come through the league.
Right, policing itself.
It would happen.
Yeah.
I'll say this. This is partly, I think, happening because Draymond has gotten away with so many things, even verbally, and in an animated way talking to officials that other players couldn't do. Other players would get hit with the tech quicker than Draymond Green would. And it's like the Pistons back in the 80s and 90s. They fouled so much, officials were like, we can't call everything. So we're not going to call everything, but it's still a foul.
Right.
Draymond Green, to me, has gotten away with antics, let's call it, for too long. And now it comes to the point where he's feeling like, well, I've been doing this. You haven't called anything. So when I move the line a little bit, what are you going to do? And now he's crossed the line where I think the NBA has to say, in a non-emotional way, enough. We're not going through this with you anymore. And this has got to be a statement of saying, you're going to change your behavior, or this is just going to get worse. This is not a feel sorry for Draymond Green thing. And we've heard stories about everybody saying, this guy's a good guy. We're not talking about whether he's a good guy or not. We know he's a winner. He's a very intelligent basketball player. He's a very good basketball player, no debate. But these actions are not only hurting his team, but they're hurting the league as well. And if you're the league, you got to take care of the other 449 players when you make a decision like that, because Yusuf Nurkic is a big guy, and we're fortunate he didn't get hurt by that. But if he gets hurt by that, now who are we going to try and defend?
Right. What happens the next time?
Yes.
Right. What happens the next time? And that's, I mean, I take it back to where I started with the kid at school. Right. You got 500 kids in the school. If one kid's going off and the others see that, oh, then nothing's going to be done. This is how it is. It's okay, and it's got to be policed in a certain way. So I'm interested to see what this indefinite suspension looks like. Like, will it be 8 games?
I said minimum 8. I said minimum 10.
Will it be 10?
Before he was suspended.
Will it
definitely.
be 12? Like, and the league, in a sense, has given themselves an out with indefinite, so there's not a hard number on it. But the other part of that is we're taking a stand.
Yeah.
So indefinite means it could be 7, 8, 10, but it could be 25. It could be 40. I don't think so, because I think the Players Association would have something to say about that. But from what we hear, there's a meeting between agents, Draymond, NBA personnel, and they're going to really sit down and look at what this looks like. Nurkic said it last night. He said, I think this brother needs help. Maybe he does.
Do you think the penalty could be so severe that it scares him into composing himself next time?
You're not going to scare the players with penalties. And, like, my thing is, when a player starts to get scared, when they start seeing the out, the exit, right? Like the exit of the league and their livelihood and stuff like that. But if I'm the Warriors, I think the Warriors need to be held accountable too.
Absolutely.
Because this is their organization. And it happened last year in the playoffs when he stepped on Sabonis. He stepped on him in his chest and hurt him. The guy, like things like that. This organization, I'm tired of seeing Steve Kerr, we talked to him and I think that no. The team has to take accountability as well. And the team needs to take action on their players. So,
And I mean, I agree with that. Players in that locker room need to look him in the eye and say, "You trying to help us or hurt us right
Yeah.
now? Like, what are you trying to accomplish with these things?" The other thing is, you don't want to hand out a judgment that makes him a martyr, that creates a sympathy for what he's done. You know, and he puts him in a position to kind of fly back and say, "This is not fair. You hand out a suspension with reason, and that it's supposed to deliver a message. If you go too hard, it looks over-aggressive, it looks like you're trying too hard to really get the message across." So it's a difficult situation.
But you think about that now, Sherman, with everything that's happened, and you go back to kicking LeBron in the finals, maybe cost them a championship. Like you go back that far and you look at everything. Can it be too hard? Like
Well, it can't
with
be-
the track record, because Joe
It
Dumars
can't be
talked
more
about
than what Ja got, right?
No,
like
but
you
I'm-
can't say he brandished a gun and all this kind of stuff multiple times, so he's going to get more than 25.
It's different in that situation, but the cumulative effect, as Joe Dumars
Right,
talked about,
right.
that he's a repeat offender. And these are the same
Yeah.
things that happen continuously
And it was
consistently.
so close to the last time. Like,
Three
there's no
suspensions
time
in the first
between,
quarter of the league, quarter of the schedule, first
Yeah.
third of the schedule. He's been suspended 3 times. And it's for
Crazy.
choking guys,
Yeah.
punching guys. Like it's not, things that have built up like that. These are serious offenses.
And it's interesting because when he choked Rudy Gobert, nobody from Memphis put their hands on him.
No.
Minnesota, you mean?
Minnesota,
Right.
sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody from Minnesota put
Yeah.
their hands on him. He wails and kind of tried to embellish it, but hits Yusuf Nurkic, and
Nobody said.
nobody went up to him and even looked at him. You know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying.
The league's in a different space. The league is in a different
I know
place.
you would have
And-
done something.
But
And
you
people,
gotta at least
nah,
say something.
I wouldn't have done anything.
Somebody hits me, you're there. You're there for me, right?
No, because I would have
I
hit you.
believe
It would have been me hitting you.
it might have been you.
All right, game 2 against the Hawks goes Friday. Tip-off at 7:30. Don't forget, after the game, come on by Real Sports. Be a part of the show. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.